Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show.
The Rise Up Morning Show.
Today is Monday, August 18th, and we are your place for helpful crypto news, commentary, answers to your questions. Back again with our friend, Mr. Will Watson. Welcome home, Will. So good to see you.
It's nice to be here. I was just, in the tiki-taki for 2 weeks, and now it's good to be back here with all the other folks. So hello, everyone.
That's right. We like having you here. We miss seeing Maverick, although I won't bring up the backstage shenanigans, but if you want to see what happens before the show goes big live, as we say, then you can bop on over to TikTok some morning at around 7:02 or 3 Central Standard Time, and you just be prepared.
Yeah, it's a show.
It's a show.
It's something.
It's definitely more than
I just like to see how much I can push it until Alex just like, Will, I am genuinely about to just buy you out of this company. I'm about to fire the hell out of you so fast right now. I'm just like, all right, fine. I'll put this incredibly ridiculous drag costume away then.
I had a dream last night, actually, Will, that you were like, you on one hand were like, okay, guys, let's go work on these things. And then you made a public post about like what it's really like to work with Alex and Evan at the Rise Up Morning Show and why I'm no longer going to do it. I forgot about this until just now. It was like a tweet thread.
Wait, was this a dream last night?
It was awful. A realistic dream, and it bothered me a lot because you were not because what you said about us is probably true in terms of I think it was really personal. You were like, Evan.
Wait a second, Dream Will. This was Dream Will.
This is Dream Will. That's right.
Dream
Will's
a dick. Just
Will.
ask my girlfriend. Dream Will is a dick.
Yeah, Dream Evan. Me too. But I woke up like seriously concerned. I was like, I really hope Will is happy. I hope I'm nice to him as I think I am. And, I hope he's got enough.
I hope I'm nice to him.
Satisfied. And I was really concerned about it, that you were going to like leave and publicly post and just, we were going to have to be in some sort of reputation war. And I think, how terrible would it be to be 3 friends on the internet who like each other, and most of the folks get along with us too, but then we have to publicly feud. It'd be like getting a divorce, I feel like.
Yeah, well,
so
guys,
you can't get a divorce.
If there was ever a breakup of us, which I have zero plans of it, so don't worry. Dream Will is just being a dick per usual.
Tell Dream Will to keep it together.
Tell Dream Will that he sucks and he's mean to my friend. He's mean to the people I love. I don't know why. People. I don't know why. But I mean, you guys are like, you guys are my friends. You guys aren't just business partners. You guys are my friends, and I like hanging out with you. And if there ever were to be a breakup, be like, hey guys, I just have to just take time to go do, I don't know, something. And I love you both, and I'm still going to talk to you all the time. And I fully support you. But I'm going to fully support both of you because I love you, and we're business partners, and I like hanging out with you guys, and we're going to keep it going. So don't worry.
So there, Dream Will.
There, Dream Will, suck it, you stupid
Will.
bitch. You stupid fat ugly bitch.
Wow.
All right.
You've got something to say about crypto. If you've got a question for one of us, then let us know. The market has reacted pretty strongly in the opposite direction from last week. We are down from the all-time highs, depending on when you're taking your measuring stick, to about where we started last week from, and maybe a little lower if your name is Ethereum. However, there are plenty of good things to report. I want to get your take on it. We want to hear your questions about it. And then let me remind you that if you are tuning in live, hello. And if you're tuning in recorded in the future, we hope your candles are green. You can join the show live on YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, TikTok. Share it with your friends. Share it with your mom. We're live Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central. Just search The Rise Up Morning Show or go to our website, rumshq.com, to find the official link to listen and watch on your favorite platform, or get the link to the recordings in podcast land. Really, it's everywhere all the time. And you can even get the link to join our free community there, where folks around the world gather to learn about this stuff 24/7 when the show is off the air. My friends, the only thing missing is you. And the link to remember is rumshq.com. With that out of the way, let me say very quickly, congratulations to our friend, Torii. Did you guys see what happened to Torii over the weekend?
No, I totally missed it. What happened?
Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Torii was among the many people to enter Logadog's onboarding contest last weekend. You guys know I'm in this hot dog eating contest, right? As many hot dogs as you can eat until September 1st. And they held a special giveaway contest to incentivize new people to post themselves eating even one hot dog and logging it on logadog.xyz. Several people from my family, from our Discord server, from the neighborhood here. And I was telling everybody, go eat a hot dog and you could win it was like $2,500 at that time. And the winner chosen from all the applicants was our friend, Torii. So Torii is half an ETH richer. And I said to Mike, can you think of a more deserving winner? I certainly can't. So congratulations, Torii.
Yeah.
Way to log that dog.
Also, huge shout out to Mike. You'll see him on TikTok as like MYK. He used to be Machiste, and he created Logadog.
Mm-hmm.
And props to him for just making a really awesome and fun on-chain like competition and like solution. It's great.
Yesterday was the first day in many days I did not eat. I was out of buns. Stupid oversight, rookie mistake. I miss logging dogs, and so I'm about to fall. Probably, I'm not in danger of falling out of the top 5. There's like a 60 dog distance between us and everybody else. But I am thinking of how I can challenge the other top dogs to like some sort of final contest. I have a feeling that one of the top competitors may be cheating.
So how would you do that with the logging?
Well, as how you would do it, what I think this person has done is a lot of their dogs and buns look suspiciously similar, or are like crafted in a way. So here's how it works: you take a picture of yourself eating a hot dog, but what's to stop you from going like one hot dog in a picture, and then it's got ketchup on it or nothing on it, and then you add ketchup, and then you add mustard, and then you add whatever. You wipe it off and put something else on. And the bun is the giveaway for me. Some of the buns I'm seeing in at least one competitor's videos look the same. And I also, again, I don't want to name names, I don't want to make allegations, but this person appears to be eating hot dogs at a gas station. And it seems like it would be difficult to eat, say, 16 hot dogs at a gas station every day on your lunch break from a corporate company. This person's always wearing a corporate shirt, which is not to say it can't be done, but it just seems suspicious. The timing, the look of the dogs, I don't know. So I'm not sure how to call them out. Maybe I challenge them to a dog off to like prove for the love of the game, like,
You guys can meet in neutral territory.
Yeah, I'm kind of
have a Nathan's hot dog eating competition.
I mean, it's a little sus.
With each dog logged on chain.
I'm serious about it. Like it's just a trivial fun contest, but there's a whole ETH at stake. I don't care so much about the ETH. I care about keeping the game pure for future generations of dog loggers.
The sanctity of dog logging.
I care about the sanctity of hot dogs. You cheat in a hot dog competition, you're basically a traitor.
What kind of scum are you?
You're a traitor. You're a traitor to this country, and you're a traitor to mankind.
You're total grifters.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, DJ Quicks.
So what are you shifting away from hot dogs? Congratulations, Torii. What are you guys thinking about how everything in the market has been? I'm kind of surprised that more folks are not a little panicky. I was expecting a bit to see that. But I feel like a lot of the folks in our community are in really good positions. I saw a lot of people invoking Alex, talking about taking profits last week and feeling good about being up, buying dips. I saw at least 1 or 2 posts talking about finding a better entry and waiting for a pullback, and now the pullback might be here. But there's a lot of open interest, money in the market. I'm curious to look at maybe a liquidation heat map. The question that seems to be on folks' mind who aren't so optimistic is, when is the turnaround? Somebody in the Circle community, our friend Ecotist, posted an analysis from a YouTuber who speculated that when Ethereum hits a new all-time high, they speculated that it would. And they said that when it did, it would trigger a lot of people to sell, and that could be a momentum switcher that could cause some people to start leaving the party. Of course, we always say everybody's got to watch Bitcoin because so much depends upon the little red Bitcoin. But I'm curious to know how you guys are feeling. We've got a conference in Jackson Hole with the Fed governors talking. Plenty of macro stuff happening in the world. And of course, interest rates still likely to get cut. Nothing really changing about the macro picture, but it's good to know when people are asking. What do you guys think?
Well, I see this is just kind of being a little bit of a cool off that could last like 1 to 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks. We'll see. And what I'm looking at is I always try to look at things now as a timeline of macro events that people care about. And what we care about right now are rate cuts. And I'll look it up again because the odds of rate cuts happening as issued by the Fed CME, which for those of you who don't know, you can just go on Google, type in Fed, F-E-D, CME, and you will find what odds market analysts believe rate cuts or rate hikes or rates staying the same are going to be. And it's the most accurate one because you're getting it directly from the market. You're not getting it from Polymarket, which is a betting site, which gets their odds also from the Fed CME. You're getting it from a direct source, right? And Evan has it up on the big screen right now. So Evan, if you just scroll down real quick and then I'll do a screen share on TikTok. Yeah, so we're still looking at rate cuts in September. So here, everyone on TikTok, you can see now too. So rates are currently 425 to 450. So the odds of staying the same are only 15% on the right. So if rates get cut to 400 to 425, that is an 84.9% chance of happening, according to market analysts. Now, what could affect that is the PCE inflation data, because the Fed cares the most about inflation out of inflation versus the labor market. Those are the two things the Fed cares about. They care the most about inflation. And there's 3 measurements of inflation: PPI, which they care the least about, CPI, which they care about, and PCE, which they greatly care about, specifically core PCE. We get that inflation data, I believe, next week. I'm pretty sure. It might be the week after, but I'm pretty sure it's next week. And so that could affect the odds of our rate cuts again. In fact, it likely will, whether it's to the the bull side or the bear side, we'll see. But right now, to the question of looking at the markets, hey, we probably have maybe 1 to 3 weeks of selling just from my analysis of TA, and we might have a rally. We're likely to have a rally in there as well, and maybe it's a strong enough rally to keep things going, and it's not not as bearish for long or that long of a period of time. But I look at rate cuts happening. So I look at this as a buying opportunity before rate cuts come, because rate cuts will increase global liquidity, increase the amount of money in the system. That means there's more money to invest in things. That means that financial assets, particularly risk-on assets, which are largely cryptocurrencies, tend to go up in value. So, keep your eyes on that, because even if rate cuts in September weren't to happen, keep your eyes on that timeline of events. In worst case scenario, in May, Jerome Powell, his term is over, and the new head of the Fed gets put in, and Trump is asking for incredibly aggressive rate cuts, and he's going to put someone in who's potentially just going to be a yes man. Maybe it's probably going to be more in between, right? But it's probably
potentially.
Well, Trump put in Jerome Powell, and Jerome Powell's not a yes man.
That was then. That was then. This is now. It's very
That
different.
was then. This is now. But still, he can put someone in place, and then they go, "Cool, I am an economist first," and then they go in and they're like, "Haha, I fooled him," and it goes and does their thing. But anything's possible. But likely he's going to put in someone who's going to be more so a yes man, and then you're looking at 300 basis points worth of cuts, which, if you don't know what basis points are, just know it's a lot. It's a lot of cuts. It'd be cutting interest rates from 4.2% where they are right now to 0.5%, or no, what did he call? I think he called for rates to be at 1%. So it'd be right around there, which would be a very, 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 very big amount of cuts. So that's what we're looking at happening in May. And I pretty much look at every single one of my purchases into Bitcoin specifically right now, and also Solana, as me just I'm just getting ready for that,
Yeah.
I'm getting ready for that.
Getting ready for that. And also, in terms of Solana anyway, I am ready to start seeing some of the ETF effects. I know we're probably likely to get an Ethereum ETF first, but I don't know. Those are the kind of next things on the horizon that I'm looking forward to in terms of crypto macro.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. That's the other thing to have on your radar, specifically for crypto. Because for Ethereum, staking being turned on for Ethereum, that's going to happen across all the big boys at the same time. Your Fidelities, your BlackRocks, your even Grayscale does decent numbers as well, right? And that's supposed to happen between September to November at some point, because that's the last amount of time the SEC has to give a thumbs up. So that's also something you're positioning yourself for, is the staking being turned on for Ethereum. And I also do think that Solana's ETF with staking doesn't really happen for a little while longer, because right now BlackRock hasn't filed for one. Fidelity has, and that's important. That's that issuance or submission to the SEC has weight, but BlackRock has a 99.9% approval rate from the SEC. So until that happens, it's not a guarantee.
Because they're really good at their jobs.
They're really good at their jobs, and they own almost everybody.
Yeah, that little detail.
Yeah, that one.
Also that, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if it'll happen at the same time. By it'll happen at the same time as you have the Ethereum staking get turned on and the Solana ETF with stakings get approved with Fidelity. It probably won't happen at the same time. The tea leaves will be there for Solana when you have like BlackRock submit, and you have then the cascade of all the other ones submit as well. So we'll see. We'll see.
Interesting. Alex, do you have a take to add?
Only so far as to say that pretty happy, pretty pleased with the way that my Solana-ing has gone lately. So bought quite a bit in the last few days, and then we had that like very brief little relief, and I was like, you know what the hell? Everything to me feels sketchy right now. Like I don't even I go nowhere near as far as Will goes. I get all of that information from Will, to be very honest. But when things feel sus, I'm just like, I'm just going to continue to be more aggressive with profit taking. So we went up and touched 194 yesterday. So I swung a little bit out, and now I wake up, it's 180, and I'm like, okay, perfect, right back in. Same exact like amount, straight back in. And now we'll wait and see. So I feel pretty good, because so to put this in perspective, like I don't have a tremendous amount, but in the last 2 or 3 weeks, just these few swings capitalizing on like 10-ish%, here and there, 10, 15, $20 of movement in Solana's price, I've added 1.25 SOL to the bag with the same amount, just from that up and down.
Nice
and
job.
For perspective too, the most that I've moved in a single trade was 7 SOL. So the average is like between 4 and 6 usually. And now it's increasing a little bit. The frequency, not so much. Still kind of waiting for like 15-ish, $20 moves to like do anything big. But going really well. So I'm pretty pleased about it.
Nice, dude. Hell yeah.
I'm
still loving my purchase of Solana, that like 164 range. But if we get a rally here, there's a part of me that hears Alex's voice in my head being like, no, maybe just sell a little bit.
Just sell a little bit.
Sell a little bit.
Just take a little bit and sell it.
I probably will.
I honestly, I think that even if it was like a quarter of a SOL, it would still just be like a good habit to get into. The idea of like getting to the point when like, oh, it did something, I'm going to do something. That's it.
That brings
and then also, I'd like.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say also that if none of you have seen my video that I put out this morning yet, which is totally fair because it's early and here we are all watching the show, and I put out 3 of them, so it's 10 minutes of your time. But if Ethereum falls to just below $4,000, it's still a very bullish setup for Ethereum. So just know, like, Ethereum has been
below what?
Just below 4,000.
Ah, okay.
So pretty much like at 4,000, like it's still a very bullish setup for Ethereum. So, it's just a nice healthy correction for a coin that has been ripping for months.
I'd like to maybe come back and revisit that with a little visual and some extra data. And I have a question that will kind of help walk us there from the audience. Before we get to that, when we're talking positioning, this comes from Kevin Brilliant. Hello, Kevin. Do we wait a little to buy for the bull run, or are we waiting for a particular cue? And I think this gives us an opportunity to talk about dollar cost averaging and maybe to just do a time frame of the last week, because a lot of people were asking us this last week or the last 2 weeks as they sensed things were heating up. The question I saw a lot of, guys, was with Ethereum specifically, is it too late to buy? When should I buy? And I feel like the answer we kind of gave was, or generally tend to give, is don't chase a green candle, which means if the price is just soaring, it's nearing a local or maybe all-time high, that's probably not the best moment to buy in, because you're buying it when it's at its most expensive. And as we're seeing here, after a sustained period of growth over a week or so, especially if it's significant, you're talking double-digit percentage points, there is often a pullback when it's a better time to start, we say, dollar cost averaging, which is the practice of saying, okay, I'd like to have $1,000 position. I'd like to invest $1,000 in Ethereum. I'm going to invest it $100 at a time or $300 at a time so that I minimize my exposure to volatility, because this bottom, it's not the only bottom you're going to get. The top isn't the only top you're going to get. And it is probable that if you split your buys up over time, you will reduce the impact of volatility, you'll catch better deals, and you will get a better entry price, be more profitable. What else would you guys say when you're thinking about taking a new position? Is there a particular cue that you wait for?
It depends on what my goal is. Am I looking to do a quick little flip? And for the most part, I don't. I started doing some of that earlier this year because I was worried about the market. So I was in and out. But for the most part, I buy something and I hold it for like a minimum of 3 or 6 or 9 months and then sell, or I hold it for a year and a half and then I sell. That's typically what I do. So what I really like to look for is I don't look at anything below the weekly time frame or the monthly time frame. I'll look at the weekly and the monthly chart, and I like to find 2 things. I like to find, hey, is the stochastic RSI in oversold territory? And are we finding support on one of the 2 more macro exponential moving averages, which is either the 55 or the 200? And typically that's a really good time to be dollar cost averaging if you're like, I'm waiting for the bottom, right? Of a big move. If you find support on a key exponential moving average, again, it's either the 55 or the 200, and your stochastic RSI is oversold, which is a very, very, very good bottom indicator. And you just start buying a little bit over those weeks or a little bit over those months. And then you go, cool, I'm going to buy into this position over the next 2 months. And then you're good. You're good. And you hold that position for 3, 6, 9, 12, 18 months. And then
you'll find.
Yeah. And, it's a nice, pretty chill strategy.
And
then also you combine that with dollar cost averaging to like a pretty extreme example, which is, cool, I have $10,000. I'm going to invest that over a month or 2 months, right? Until that amount is gone and I have my average position.
And what about signs to know when to start dollar cost averaging out? You said 3, 6, 9. Damn, you'll find. But what is the I know, right?
Get low,
I can do it one more time.
To the window.
Stop it.
To the wow.
For somebody who's buying ETH at, $4,200, they may be worried that they're near the top of the bull run and that they're going to miss the top with their exit. So is it silly? Is it foolish to have a target for it? I tend to think so. I tend to think more in terms of percentages, dangerous. And we've talked a lot about that. So feel free, elaborate.
Yeah, it's so dangerous to have a target, because I've had targets before and I was like, I'm not going to sell anything until I hit this target. And guess what? It doesn't hit that target. And then I never sell.
I have regions, like chunks, like a broader target, I would love to be buying it again. Solana that is like under 160. That would be killer. So the second it's 159.99, like I'm interested. And if it like stopped at 161, I'm probably still going to do a little something. It's close enough. I might adjust like the amount, but I don't know. I try to keep my targets very fluid just because it's rare that it hits like perfectly what you're thinking.
I would also say
you've arbitrarily chosen.
Yeah, no, absolutely spot on. And I would say for the vast majority of people, honestly, I should probably do a little bit more of it myself, is do the Alex method. Say like, hey, I'm up, honestly, the majority of people should. And then the majority of people would win, which would totally break financial markets because just like the casino, the house has to win. And they set it that way. Can you imagine that if everybody just started doing that, then like everybody started winning and then the market makers would just be like totally hosed. They'd be totally hosed. Just, set a target. Be like, hey, if I'm up 10%, I sell a little bit. And then if the market's down 10%, I buy a little bit. And, set yourself a really, really basic rule and you're going to be doing okay. Because also put things into perspective that the stock market gives you a return of like 7% to 9%. People are like, hey, that's really good. Do that every single year and you're going to be pretty okay for retirement. If you sell a little bit at 10% in crypto, you're going to have like, I don't know, 100 opportunities a year just playing in one asset, right? To do that. And then that's 10% here, 10% there, 10% here, 10% there, being stacked upon your ever increasing pile of money. And then, through the power of what's the word? What's the term?
Compounding returns?
Thank you. Compounding interest.
Gotcha.
Your pile of money grows incredibly quickly. It'll seem slow at first, and all of a sudden you're going to look at it one day and be like, oh my God.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what most people should do.
I always think about exactly that. Like if I compare every potential return or every return I'm looking at on a screen, deciding whether or not to capitalize on compared to the annual average rate of return of the S&P 500, which is widely regarded as good, it doesn't take much to exceed it. And like you just said, how many bites at that 10% apple would you have in a cryptocurrency over the course of a year if you just
my God, so many.
One of the good, big, solid ones? I'm not even experimenting or gem hunting in the fringes like I used to try to. I don't have enough time to sit there and pore over things as much like that anymore. But looking at Solana, I'm not worried about it going to zero. So if I have to tune out for a month and I miss a bunch of action in the month, whatever it is, I'm exposed up and down, so I'm good to go. And throughout the course of the year, I might get a bunch of cracks at 10 to 15% just through the normal course of anything. Screw waiting for some mystical unicorn alt run. I don't give a shit, because these things, even in the flattest bear market, still do 10% up and down over the course of a couple weeks all the time. Mm-hmm. And if you're able to move on that, then all of a sudden you're able to swing that thing around, that volatility around, to your benefit repeatedly in the same year. And it kind of just goes to my overarching thesis that at this point in this day and age, people in this category, no matter how old you are, just regardless of at what point you are, if you're kind of starting and trying to set yourself up a little bit better financially, you have to take more risk than you did 20, 30, 40 years ago. The same opportunities simply don't exist. I this is my personal belief, so take it for whatever it's worth. I'm a guy on the internet, but it's my personal belief that putting in a little bit of money and waiting for the S&P for 40 years is not a viable strategy anymore. If you're starting right now, if you are established, great, good for you. Go off. I'm so happy for you. That's not my case. I don't have that. I don't have that set up. So I feel like I need to do more. And that's where things like Bitcoin come in into play for me, just because at the same rate that it's increasing, whatever, even on an off year, it's still going to be ranging like crazy. And that volatility can be your friend.
I want to do a special shout out to all the different folks who are OGs listening live right now. I see Kai, I see Torii, I see Robbie, I see Robot Stecklerish, I see Jower. Jower had a great comment. I still miss time things, but the Alex method is proving better than any I've previously used. And Torii said it's like the circles, the rings on a bullseye, like your profit targets moving outwards, just step by step taking profit. And I love getting to see all the different folks who have perspective on how they have changed or stayed the same over time and what has worked. So thank you all for tuning in and thank you for sharing. The question here comes from, Mike, you missed it. Torii is here. Check your wallet, girl. We've been celebrating. We're very excited for Torii to be a happy switcher, a new dog logger. We absolutely love it.
It's funny. The only thing that's going through my head right now, though, is Alex just being like, swing it. I'm just keep saying, I'm like, swing it.
Swang it.
Wang it.
Can we get that on a t-shirt? Just Alex's face. Maybe we can put that on the soundboard.
Yeah, right. Swang it.
Swing it.
He said the other day when you were out, Wick, he said, staring down the barrel of a big thing. And the way he said it made me like, I'm sorry, what? And
Excuse me.
what else did you say the other day?
You
You
heard
said, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did hear you.
You
You're like,
stare down the
"Seriously."
barrel of that big thing and you swang it.
I was like, man,
I know,
Alex.
brother.
He said 2 or 3 things last week that made me go, I am gonna need to clip that. So if you heard that, refresh me because I need to know. And if you've got a crypto question, then don't hesitate to let us know. We have got a quick question about taxes, and then we've got a question about the white whale, our friend, and their apex predator setups.
I
Go
do
ahead,
have to. I was going to say that. Sorry, I did forget one point in my little ramble there.
No, go ahead.
When I'm thinking about percentages, the thing that I'm going for, and the reason that I saw a comment just about, I would say that they would disagree with my assessment that you need to take more risk if you're really young. Sure, that's great. I think that you can like tuck some away, starting young, and that's great. That can be a piece of your strategy, like the whole S&P compounding, a couple $100 a month, whatever, for the next 40 years. Godspeed. I think that it's not going to matter. Personally, if you are going for 8 to 10% and the stock market can just like keep that up for the next 40 years again, which I don't know, to me seems questionable. The rate at which your dollar is losing power every year is like on average 20%. And that was before this year. This year, it's gone up way more. It's way worse. So whenever I'm looking at like percentages to take advantage of or gaps to fill, I'm thinking about that 20% amount. Because unfortunately, at this point, if you're just looking at the US dollar, 20% gains on your investments is basically what you need to break even with your purchasing power, which is sad to think about. But there's a reason that if minimum wage was adjusted between 1975 and right now to have the same purchasing power on a house, minimum wage would need to be $66 an hour. That's like how bad it's gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how
tough.
it will continue to get worse. If you haven't noticed, the current plan seems to be devalue it even more. So I expect that to get worse. This year is going to be much worse than 20%. So you have a lot of ground to make up. If you're just compounding at 7%, you are still losing money. It's just a sad fact. So I try to fill in that gap with a little bit more. That's really the impetus for the thesis. And then on the subject of the white whale, he phrased it beautifully here in terms of that one question. Forgive me, I forget who posted it, but just asking about like, is now a good time to look at something? I would think this is the best way that I've seen phrased to answer it. So his short list of truths, the very last one, if you need to borrow conviction from someone else to make a trade, consider not making the trade. Just killer. So the idea there is that if you don't feel confident in a buy or a sell, and you're relying on someone else to tell you what to do to make you feel better about the thing because you don't either know what you're looking at, you don't understand the asset, you didn't understand it when you bought it at someone else's advice or whatever, you're just going to kind of keep ping-ponging back and forth between like hoping that some mystical person on the internet gives you the right advice at the right time for your personal situation, and that's just not a reliable strategy. And then I liked this one and left a comment just about the last one being beautifully written. I love that. And then said he channeled his inner Alex when he wrote this one. So I was like, all right, that's a cool moment.
I love that there's just more proverbial, mystical, kind of like across the astral plane versions of Alex just sitting on people's shoulder, being like, sell some.
Sell something.
Everyone on the internet is
You can't
dumb.
Rise Up merch would be Alex shoulder angels. Like, obviously, one of them is maybe they're both little demons. I don't
Yes.
know.
No, yeah, they're both little demons, and one's like, you should take some profits, and be like, yeah, no, that guy's smart. You should take some profits.
Yeah, they both say the same thing.
They both say the same thing.
I'm
They're
not
both
sure how
wearing
you would visualize
USDC to
that.
$2 shirts.
At Disney World, they have the little cartoon things, and they have the little like plate, and then their butt has a magnet in it, and they like sit on your shoulder, and then you put the plate under your shirt, and they just look like they're sitting there. Jordan has one of Ratatouille. I could
Yeah,
totally
that could be it. We could get those made.
You squeeze it, and it just says "sell something."
Sell something.
I would really love that. Somebody get on that and send us a message.
Pink shirt for sure. Yeah, absolutely. He's got to be wearing a pink shirt.
While we were chatting, and you made a comment of the white whale, and I was like, oh, yeah, I just hopped on Twitter real quick, and I was like, there was something I wanted to bring up. Can't remember what it was, but if for those of you who are on Twitter or even TikTok or Instagram, you saw the post I made with my woolly mammoth and dragon technical analysis.
Oh my God! Yeah.
The most compelling piece of technical analysis I've ever seen ever since I think I learned. What was it? There was one that Kagan did a long time ago, Evan, that like started off a trend of funny animals on charts. I think it was like a turtle, like the sea turtle chart or something. But he had all of his. Well, I don't know if you know him, but he's like an extremely technical analyst, like the most scientific. Like when you read anything from him, you're like, okay, this dude has a PhD in whatever he's talking about, because I didn't know any of the words that were in that sentence. That's him, but for TA. And one day he just arbitrarily wrote like that, but with a big picture of a turtle on the chart. And he was just like, I don't fucking know, dude. Good luck.
I don't know, man. Yeah. But when I saw this morning, I was like, oh, you know what? We should have a competition in the Rise Up community.
Love
and
it.
Because I will give 100 USDC to whoever wins the silly TA competition.
Killer.
And we'll have people post them in the Circle community. And Evan and Alex, you guys can be the judge of it, because it'll be my money. So we'll do that. How about we start it today, and then maybe on the Thursday morning show, we can pull up some of the examples, and you guys can grade, and we can decide who wins.
I'm into that. Where should people apply their silly TA, and what tools would you recommend they use to be able to draw on a chart like this?
So first of all, for tools, you'll want, you can do any chart you want, but TradingView is the best. TradingView.com. If you guys don't know what it is, it's like it basically has a monopoly on the market for trading charts, or it's just chart analysis, right? So TradingView.com, go there. You can get an account for free, so you don't have to pay anything to get it. I pay because I use it all the time, and I have a bunch of stuff and blah, 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 but you can just use it for free. And so go do that, and then you can use your tools and get your little brush and do your drawing on your mouse, or I have a pen on my phone, so I use the pen on my phone, so it gets a little neater. So go do that.
Shout out Samsung.
And shout out to Samsung. And sponsor us. You're into crypto. You have a native made wallet. Come on,
dude.
Do it. Yeah, really. And then you need to join the Circle community, which is totally free to join, by the way. The link is on rumshq.com, which is the Rise Up Morning Show, hq.com. Or you can go to the link of any of our profile pages and find the link to join as well, or find the link to the riseupmorningshow.com, rumshq. And then go into the technical analysis tab. Oh, wait, no, actually, that's only for premium members. So in this case, I want everyone to be able to have access to this competition. So
let's make a post in the public forum. What do you say?
We'll do a post in the public
contest
forum.
Post.
Yeah, let's do that. If you can set that up right now, Evan, while we're live.
Yeah, I will. I'll set it up right now.
Yeah, and then we'll grade and rate them live on the show, and then whoever wins, I'll send you a message and ask for your wallet address to send 100 USDC to.
Will, on this note, I found something on LinkedIn yesterday that I think you'll get a big kick out of. I thought it was a joke at first, but upon closer inspection, I believe that it's real. So the before I show you the picture, the text is, someone did it again. Launched a coin and then manually traded it to draw a dog on the price chart and then rugged it. Only in crypto.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Look how good this is.
Okay, hang on. Oh
my God.
For people in podcast land, this is an episode you absolutely need to get to the screen share as fast as
Oh my God, it's beautiful. Hang on a second. I got to get this to the people on TikTok.
If anyone can tell me which token this is, because I want to see if this is real. If not, it's a beautiful piece of artwork. But if that's real, that's so impressive.
I choose to believe it's real. I don't care.
Me too. I know. I'm kind of just want to stop investigating just in case it's not.
Don't want to investigate it. It's real until I find out it's not. Probably isn't. I like it. Anyway. Oh, I will say also, for anybody thinking they're going to go use AI to make silly TA charts, guess what? I've tried it. Terrible. It's awful. ChatGPT at the very least cannot look at the candles. I was like, no. I was like, make a silly TA chart, and it just like put an ice cream cone over the chart. I was like, no. I was like, use the price history and the candles to provide inspiration for what's on the chart, and then it just took a duck and just put a duck over it, and I was like, no, ChatGPT. I was trying for a while because I wanted to tell people, I was like, this one is what I drew, and this was the best thing I could get ChatGPT to do. But like, it was so bad, I was like, this isn't even worth the tweet. This isn't worth the tweet. But maybe it was so bad that it is worth the tweet. Maybe I'll tweet them out later.
Sometimes it just sucks. Christina was messing around yesterday with the branding for a channel that she was messing around with the idea for, and it was funny. She was workshopping the profile picture for it, and would get it to where it would generate something that she really liked, except for like this one thing. Be like, okay, it's great, except for this one squiggle, and it's like, okay, I'll remove the squiggle and change the color and the font and rewrite it and move the position and also add this.
Yeah.
So massive gwump. And that's with the paid one. It's just like, it gets very confused very easily. And I don't know. I think there's so many better options for art related stuff. Cause then she switched over and looked at the Canva one, and it was way better.
I have not been as satisfied with GPT since the upgrade to 5. I honestly have been really quite disappointed.
I've been,
it's missed on a few things for me.
Mostly Claude and Perplexity ever since, and increasingly so.
There's one that I wrote down that we got to check out. Where is it? It's called Davin or Davin. I think it's Davin, just based on DAVENAI. Have you guys heard of this?
No, new to me.
One of those like multi-access AI dashboards where you can pay one subscription, like $20 a month, and get like GPT, Claude, a couple of others, so you don't have to keep like tab hopping, and you can organize all your threads in one place. And I have seen a lot of people whose opinions I respect say that it is really, really solid. So it's on my list to try next.
Spell it again.
Davin, DAVENAI.
Check it out.
Yeah.
There's a
heads up, the silly TA contest is now live in the public forum of the Circle community. Few words make me as happy than win Will's money, and we get to judge and decide. So unless you want me and Alex to rule ourselves the winners, then go ahead and submit your drawings now. Thank you, Will. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
There was a good question as a follow-up just to some of the profit-taking stuff that we were talking about before. Someone said that they're newer.
Are you going to go to Texas?
Yeah.
Can I delay you?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the white whale's apex predator setup first? Because I'm going to talk about a little. I teased it, and I want you to set up your tax app because I want you to get to showcase it. As much as I hate it, I want you to showcase it when you answer that question.
How could you hate Blockchain Basecamp, Evan?
Oh, it's got a name?
I named it that 2 weeks ago, and you still keep calling it, even though like the tax stuff is like 1% of the whole thing.
Okay. Well, Blockchain Basecamp, whatever. I have been thinking of it as a fat ass dashboard in my mind.
You can call it the whole ass dashboard too.
Whatever.
Let's go there, but I want to go to the white whale question first because it's gonna generate some more questions about taking profits, paying taxes, trading. Okay. For people who have heard us reference the white whale this episode and you're not familiar yet, we're talking about at the white whale HL. This is on X, friend of the show and mysterious anonymous whale, trading in size. Currently the number 10 all-time, number 1 right now trader on Hyperliquid, has a 78, maybe 81, depending on market prices, $1 million long position on Solana, among others, and has been dropping wisdom, like they said. Talks often of this analogy, the apex predator. And the white whale uses this analogy to refer not to themselves, but to the mindset they try to imagine the market's top makers, the biggest players have, that helps inform the way they trade and can help inform the way you trade too. If you want to see more about their tips, you can find them at the White Whale HL, but I just wanted to quickly translate because these are some longer posts. Some of the tips that the white whale uses to suss out what the apex predators in the market might be thinking. Now, The first tool is one we use on the show a lot. You can go to CoinGlass. Will, is it a .io or a .com?
I have it open right now. It's a .com.
.com, coinglass.com, and you're looking for the liquidation heat map. This is a visual indicator of where long and short orders are thickest in the market, where the most people are betting on the price to go. And the white whale's take is that in addition to showing where traders will lose money, that the brightest spots mean the most people stand to lose the most money, that the predators, the apex predator, they push price in this direction by buying or selling to feed before making what are their real moves. Not every bright zone gets eaten. You still need some context for the market. And in the same way that the liquidity heat map is sort of a predictor of where whales will move to feed, the white whale also says that order books are a common place where traps are set. Order books are a list of buy and sell orders, kind of like a liquidation heat map is. And you can see, based on where many orders accumulate, where big walls of resistance are, but they often attract traders, small traders, shrimpy traders like us. They don't really protect them. Real support and resistance, the whale says, isn't something that is publicly broadcast. The people with the biggest money to bet are not putting it out in public. They are allowing people to move in a certain direction and then putting their money to influence the market in that direction to grab the bets that will be liquidated. Will or Alex, can you guys explain this concept of getting liquidated, or why a whale would liquidate other people, how that benefits them directly? This is something I'm still trying to wrap my mouth around in a helpful way because I'm not sure I have the right analogy for it.
How are you gonna come at me for staring down the barrel of a big thing and then say with a totally straight face, wrap your mouth around anything?
Evan.
I just mean, the words, finding the right ones.
You're starting off after dark with a gwump in the chamber.
Preemptively for the Wednesday show.
I'm pre-gwumping you.
From Wednesday. I didn't even get gwumped. At least, I don't know. Damn dog.
But help me out.
Yeah.
I struggle to explain to people okay, how does getting liquidated, somebody losing money in a position, benefit somebody else? So
first of all, it's much easier if you start by thinking of market makers, which are centralized exchanges and their bookmakers, if you will, people who provide a bunch of liquidity. Just think of centralized exchanges. Any exchange. They make money when you get liquidated. That's when they make the most money. They also make money from fees, but they make the most amount of money from liquidations. So if you are long and you've used margin, what have you, if you are long, Alex, that wasn't even that bad, man. That wasn't that bad. You're stuck in this mind in the gutter area. He's stuck in the gutter. So anyway, if you're long and you're really trying to wrap your mouth around it and swing it around, God, this is
the last episode of the Rise Up Morning Show.
If you are using margin and you are long in the market, meaning that you're thinking that the market's going to go higher and the market goes down, and it goes down to the point where you get liquidated. So if you have 10x leverage, you get liquidated with a 10% move. 10 times 10 is 100. That's 100% of your position. It's gone, right? Because you borrowed money and the market's down, right? And the people you borrowed money from come and they take your position, right? That's just what happens. Who do you borrow money from? You borrow money from the centralized exchange. So it's the centralized exchange coming in and grabbing your money, which is why they like liquidations. Now, you can stop there and go, well, markets are manipulated. So who stands to make the most amount of money in any market? Well, the centralized exchanges do. So they do this, right? They make the market do such things, or can influence it to do such. So that's one. That's theory one. But also, in order for whales to make money, they need a lot of liquidity because they have very big positions in order to make money. So what they need is need liquidations in order for liquidity to be grabbed to then be provided to them. And that's kind of the name of the game, because the trading and investing and how you enter and exit markets changes drastically. If you have $100, if you have $10,000 to $100,000, right? But it is an entire different world when you're playing with several $1 million to tens of millions of dollars, and you're playing in an altcoin space or where order books aren't that big. If you go and make a sale and the price of something is at $100, you might have to sell or buy into $100 down to like $75 of all that order book, because you're trying to scoop up so much. There's not enough sell orders there for you to buy from, right? It's just a very different world. So you need liquidations, you need this creation of liquidity generating events, which for them is a liquidation. But it's the simplest to just go centralized exchange, make the most amount of money from liquidations, because they get to take my money and the money that I borrowed from them back, and they make money. So it's just the way markets move.
Got it. So if a whale sees this cluster of chum, this pocket of little fish accumulating at a certain price point, they are going to place bets on the order book beyond that point, hoping that more people will see this money. They're adding fuel to a fire to move it in that direction. Liquidity attracts eyeballs, attention, more liquidity. And since they have a heavier bat to swing or a heavier weight to apply to the scale, they can influence the direction of the market. And then if they're beyond this wall, these people get hit first, or, these people, if we're going in this direction. The visual indicator, my podcast listeners, is on YouTube.
Yeah,
then
but also they
right behind it. Go ahead. No.
And also you use order books to manipulate sentiment. So if you watch an order book, which is just like the active sell positions and the active long positions, if you will, or the active sell and buy positions, just to keep it simple, you might see an artificial sell wall or an artificial buy wall showing a lot of support or a lot of bearish pressure right there. Yeah. But as you go and make buys and sales, you'll see it, immediately. You'll see it like immediately retract and go back, right? And it's whales typically trying to manipulate the market by artificially putting in a sell wall that seems massive to make people panic. And then it drives them in a position that they actually want the market to go to. So they use order books to manipulate the sentiment of the market. And you'll see those walls shift as the market shifts too, pretty quickly. So it's a way to make the fish move in the direction that you want towards your mouth if you are a whale. So and that's the apex predator strategy, is you are trading not based on what the market tells you, like, is it moving upwards or downwards? You're looking at where does everyone else think the market is going, and who is the person who is likely to benefit from this, and what are they not revealing publicly? That is the apex predator mindset that the white whale talks about. The more you can think about that, where those people who are not broadcasting their money moves are likely to move, the more you can start to set up kind of your own indicators to see if you're tracking the apex predator, so to speak. I think it's a really fascinating way to think about it, and our hope is to get the white whale on the show sometime in the not too distant future. We'd love to have them on Market Watch. We'd love to have them on the morning show, but just like these market makers, it's not always possible to see the movements of whales below the ocean's surface. Sometimes you just got to put out your periscope and wait. Alex, with that out of the way, I'm sorry it took forever. Show me, what are we talking about? Blockchain Basecamp. If you're trading up and down, you're worried about taxes. You may not want to sell because you don't know the implications of selling, of buying, of trading crypto on the tax book. Fortunately, we have lots of resources to help, and one of them is vibe coded by Mr. Alex Popovich himself. Now you can test it, so I don't have to. Ladies and gentlemen, Blockchain Basecamp, tell us about it.
So first of all, context. If you want to look up where you fall into, bracket wise with any of this tax stuff, this is specifically about the U.S. taxpayers here. You can find all of it on the IRS's website. It's updated every year. Because your capital gains rate depends on your income bracket. So it's not necessarily that everyone always pays the same thing. And I put this little bit together here to show you how
show me the money
I can talk. So if you wanted an example, let's just say, this shouldn't be broken right now. Say you're buying, I don't know, make up something, buying Solana, You bought it at 140. You bought 5 of them at 140. Whatever date, I don't know. Let's just make up something that's definitely going to be short term. So let's say it was in June. I have no idea if that's where the price was, but whatever. Okay, bought it on Coinbase. Who cares? All right, so now we have this buy logged here, and now let's sell it. This is probably not the way that you would do it, but just to kind of demonstrate it, let's say you sold, I don't know, 2.5, sold half of it at what's today's price? 180.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I'm having a screen issue.
That's fine. It works. Okay, so now you have a buy and a sell. And then down here, you can see, so there's some unrealized gains of $200. Total return. Okay, great. Yep. Good deal. Portfolio value. Yeah, don't pay attention to this part right now. It's still broken. Recommendations. Okay, so it's going to kind of talk through this idea of, at this point, with only one trade on the books, it's just going to say you could hold longer and then you wouldn't be in short term. But if you want to see exactly like what that rate would be, let's just keep it for US tax year 2024 because I don't have 2025 in here yet. You'd pick your filing status. So if you're married, annual income total, I don't know, let's just say 100 for the household, whatever state, I don't know, just keep it here close to home. Okay, so here would be your tax rate then on this.
Can you read it out loud for the people in podcast land?
And on TikTok, yes. So effectively, you would put in those different parameters, and then your tax brackets for 2024, your federal rate of 22%. That's just federal income tax rate at that income level. And then it's got my state tax rate for being in Georgia, short-term capital gains, which is taxed at the same level as ordinary income. And then underneath that would be what it would be for long-term, how it would fall down. So difference between short-term and long-term here is 27.7 for short-term versus 15.0 for long-term. Long-term would be in any asset held 1 year or longer. Short-term, anything under a year. It's very true and completely fair to say that that tax rate is high. It's a lot. The way that I look at it is, would I rather take the profits on something and pay a percentage of taxes out of that win, or would I rather just continue to hold it for whatever reason and risk just writing the whole thing off as a loss? Because eventually that thing's going to, I mean, if all your wildest dreams come true and it continues to go up and up and up and up and up, I mean, I assume that you're planning on selling something at some point. Taxes will just come and hit you there at that point. I try to never think about not making a move because of what the tax obligation could be, in fear of losing everything and having to do a write-off. Now, if you do have a loss somewhere, you can offset that. So if we made $200 here, but we lost $300 somewhere else, we don't owe any taxes. And you can do that completely without a limit. There's no limit on how much you can net. So if you lose 10 grand in one trade and you make 10 grand back, you don't owe taxes on the 10 grand that you made back because you can offset it with a $10,000 loss. The same is true for 100 grand or $1 million. It's worth it to talk to an accountant or to do some digging online and figure out exactly where your bracket is, what your obligation would be, the differences for you in between your state, what if your state has any differences. Even on this little calculator, there are, I've added in like UK, Australia, and European tax jurisdictions as well, so you could check that too. But at the end of the day, my bumper sticker, my fortune cookie memo on the thing is, I'd never let the fear of having to pay a tax prevent me from selling and taking a profit, just because I would rather pay tax on a win than write off a loss, personally.
And remember, only winners get taxed.
It's true.
Yeah, that is true.
Alex,
Gotcha.
I am absolutely
Gotcha.
going to die on that hill. A couple of common questions from the comments are swaps and sales taxed? Alex, give me a list of every taxable event.
So the easiest way to think about it is that if you turn anything into anything else, it's taxed.
Correct.
So even
So-
USDC, if I turn my Bitcoin
Correct.
into
Mhm.
USDC. All right.
Yeah. If you sell any crypto into anything, it's taxed, even if you're selling it into another crypto. Even if you're trading two different things and one is a Bitcoin, like let's say you're trading, I don't know, Uniswap, but you're trading it against ETH. So you're going in and out between ETH and Uni. You're still taking profits in one or declaring a loss in the other if you sell into something else. Anytime you turn anything into anything else, it's taxed. Income is also taxed. That includes airdrops, staking revenue, or income for work paid to you in a cryptocurrency. You owe the tax on the day that you got it at the value that you received it. So if I paid Evan one SOL at today's price, 180, he would owe, well, that's a bad example because it would fall under $600 and under miscellaneous, but the point is that it would be recorded on that day, the day he received it. Even if then, this is one of the biggest things that needs to get cleaned up because this is a mess. Even if Evan kept that SOL that he got paid in SOL and never sold it, and then 2 years later it was way more expensive, he would still owe income tax on the day he received it at the cost that he received it at, and then he would owe capital gains on the difference between that day and the day he sold it. And conversely, if he received it and it went down, even if he got paid in a crypto that went to literal zero, he would still owe income tax on the amount that it was worth on the day he received it. So technically, you could commit someone to an extremely expensive tax obligation that they would be technically legally obligated to pay if you gave them $1 million worth of a crypto and then rugged it and they had none of it. They would technically owe income taxes on $1 million while they had literally no money. Like
Yeah,
that's how stupid that law is, because that's how it reads right now. It's
There are
crazy.
some sites that have come in and out. I don't know one that's like live right now the best, but I imagine a lot of tax crypto sites will maybe try to add this in the future, or like wallet integrated sites where you can sell your junk tokens. There was one that was called like the dustpan. There was one called the garbage collector. And basically they would just let you connect your wallet. They would try to detect dust, rug pulled tokens. Of course, some of them are honeypots that you can't move, but anything you could move, if it was rugged or whatever, you could sell. Technically, they would buy it for pennies on the dollar or less in order to create a record of a transaction that you could use for tax purposes, because otherwise you're out of luck, Chuck.
So just in answer to a couple of these questions, what law is that? It's nothing in particular. It's just good old-fashioned U.S. tax law, which is just a hot mess of garbage. Is there anything on the horizon that's going to address this? No, not directly. However, I think clarity might help set up to fix it. But I still, as of now, have not seen a single whisper of discussion about fixing this problem. And that's one of the reasons that I have a hard time taking all of this legislation seriously, because it's like, to me, the most glaringly obvious problem. And I don't see any discussions in Washington about this. We're focused on how can we get as many of these insiders as rich as humanly possible, because they already have their own ways to circumvent tax obligations, whatever, with volume. There was a question about trusts. It depends on the trust. There's a lot of different kinds of trusts. There's a couple tidbits on this tool that I'm throwing together just about using a trust. I don't know a ton about it. I would definitely consult like someone who is a trust accountant, just over someone like me, but you can look it up. In short though, yes, there are ways to defer taxes using trust structures, but trusts are oftentimes complicated and expensive to set up. So it's really not worth it if you're just trying to, shelter a couple bucks or something.
Tax avoidance, illegal. Tax deferment, an American pastime.
Encouraged, yes.
Lots of really good questions about taxes. We always have good questions when we cover taxes. So let's round this out by asking,
Yep.
Alex, where can we find the the Blockchain Basecamp app now. And then while he preps that, if you are interested in crypto taxes, we have a recorded course that you can take at your own pace on our website, rumshq.com, that does a walkthrough of Coinly, one such crypto tax software that plugs in your wallet. We answer a lot of questions about capital gains, capital losses, what is deductible, like your fees. How do you use an app like that to simplify and streamline your crypto taxes? What are the other ways you can do it? What kinds of considerations exist? And if you want to take that, then I also recommend you jump into the Discord. Damn it, the Discord. The Circle. I'm really going to get it. Community.rumshq.com, or just remember rumshq. You can find the link there. It's a great companion to the tax course, or any course, or no course at all. Just get in there and start learning with people. We will probably do some sort of tax course again. And I would love to especially invite some of our friends. I see Nanny Cryptos in the crowd. If you are somebody who does not live in the United States, then we meaning the three of us specifically, know less about your situation, but we have a lot of friends all around the world, and we'd be glad to connect you with a great resource or amplify any resources you have to share. That'd be the place to do it. So Alex, where can we find the tax app?
So if you're in the circle, shout out, it's right here in the Dev Hub. You can take a peek at it. So this is the current live version, which I'll update when I redeploy it. I have a bunch of fixes that need to go into it because there's a bunch of broken stuff. Otherwise, I think I have it shared somewhere in the general chat too, and I could put it back in there. But at the end of the day, you got to be in the circle.
Yeah, and if you are not in the Dev Hub is a premium channel. I do believe it's been shared in general though, and we're not that sad about it. So you can find it, but I would encourage you to check out the premium membership too. You can sign up for a 10-day trial. You get a lot of benefits, a whole bunch of extra channels with the most dedicated members of our community. You get discounts on everything we sell. So if it's a class, you get a discount. If it's a coaching, you get a big discount every single time. And you get a lot of free stuff too, like office hours, which is basically, group Q&A coaching with us every week, and much, much more designed to save you more than what you pay every month in membership. You can check it out and start your trial at where? Of course, rumshq.com. Jump on in, and then you can get the downloads, you can get the classes, you can book a coaching session, you can do that and so much more, my friend. Now, Alex, you in the private chat had a couple of stories that I am really curious to get to. And all of our friends back home, if you've got a story, you got a question, you got a suggestion, you got a weird stat, fact check yourself, brother, then throw it out there, because in just a few minutes, we'll be riding our dogs and ponies into the sunset. You mentioned Thailand tourist DigiPay and the Story Protocol founder bouncing, which honestly is more intriguing to me, because what? But
no, the Thai tourist thing is kind of an interesting, just little tidbit, just an example of advancement around the world. There's now a legally recognized vehicle for tourists in Thailand to convert crypto into the local currency. It almost seems like tax-free to use then in Thailand, like on your trip, which is pretty sweet. So little example there. That was just one headline that I saw pop around that I thought was interesting, because I think more and more we're going to start to see, I would imagine, and this has kind of been the thinking, that countries all around the world are just going to start throwing out we saw it in the Czech Republic with, removing taxes from Bitcoin specifically, capital gains from Bitcoin specifically. Yeah. I also did want to just address, because I saw it pop up again, this idea that the US government is going to remove all taxes on crypto. I wouldn't count on that. There's almost no chance that happens. Even if it did, it would probably look like the overtime and whatever the other nonsense tips thing was. It's going to have a whole bunch of stipulations and only count for certain people and only certain amounts and only on Tuesdays and only if you're wearing red and something like that. I don't know, whatever. So I wouldn't count on it. I certainly wouldn't try to shape a strategy for yourself around the potential that happens someday, because that's probably never going to happen. I could see maybe with just Bitcoin. But even then, I think that there is going to be a lot of pushback, and it would take forever, and it hasn't even been proposed yet. So tremendously long amount of time before we get to that point. But the Story founder thing, that was interesting. Saw that on. So I don't know if anyone holds Story. If you do, I'm sorry, because yikes. So effectively, and this is all over Twitter right now. No, I have not yet seen a single person like try to come up with the silver lining or the support of it. It's basically just been a lot of anger about the fact that these guys raised a tremendous amount of money and then basically TGE'd the token, made a shitload more money, and now the founder's like going to go do something else. But
And
don't worry.
Tails
Who was
over
it, Alex,
time.
that said? Who was it, Alex, that said, I don't know, I'm not that sold on Story Protocol. I think it could be a VC pump and dump.
That was Evan.
Yep.
Goddamn right it was.
Oh, goddamn!
And I'll be
it was.
fair, I met some people from Story, and they seemed delightful. But
Me too. The thing about it though is that I mean, still to this day, regardless of whether the founder is a grifter or not, which I guess wouldn't be the news of the century, the idea is still really cool, and I think that's the biggest bummer. I hate it when shit like this happens to a cool idea. And Evan,
I don't
you
know
can
that I think it's that cool.
we'll hard disagree.
I think the idea of putting IP on chain is cool. I absolutely don't think it's cool to make it its own layer one. That to me is like, oh, you're a layer one, so you're going to raise $50 million in your Series A, and then you're going to launch
Sure.
a token, and maybe, you know what I mean? Like that to me is a grift. Why not just do
Yeah.
it on ETH? Why
Well,
not
yeah,
just do it?
we could say
You know
that
what I
about
mean? Like-
everything. I could say that about literally every project. Why not just do it in a network that works? But I mean, the playbook. It's like, I mean, that's why you called it out, because layer one. That's the point of a layer. Why is Circle launching a layer one? Because they made billions of dollars, and they're like, but what if it was more? Layer one.
But what if it was more? I like that. Let's launch a layer one and call it
What?
more.
What if it was more? Anyway, there's a bunch of chatter on Twitter about this one. Like the comments speak for themselves. Lots of retweets of the founder's like announcement that he's stepping down from his role and assuming an advisorship instead, which corresponds with the price chart doing something like that. And I mean, I get it. I mean, I don't know how much they raised off the top of my head, but it was a lot. Look, it was a lot.
I think it was in the. I think it was at least 50 million. And I'm pretty sure A16Z was an investor. Which is not to say that like A16Z doesn't get burned, because
see,
they do.
This is why I wrote that the other day about crypto VCs just like funding their own demise at this point. And it took me a minute to kind of reach this little epiphany for myself as I was thinking about like why this machine is so broken. Because I mean, that's the thing, like Story went through all of that and never really marketed anything. So, I mean, there's not really a tremendous amount of publicity around it, but still raised a tremendous amount of money. And they're not unique in that at all. And I mean, yeah, like you said, if a VC or multiple VCs are the ones who put all of that cash in there, and then you get a bunch of investors to come in and, juice those returns up, the VCs either only need to be pumping and dumping these things, which does happen, of course. But on the other side, it's like if I was the venture firm and I was like investing in these startups and I knew how backwards all of the methodologies that they're going to use are, I would be pissed, because that's my money. Those are my returns, like just disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no potential for anything to be long-term successful as a venture capitalist.
Yeah.
Because I'm just kind of giving them money and then they're doing whatever the hell they want with it, and they're never telling anyone about the project or the protocol or the thing, the whatever. And then that dude can, I mean, how much money did that dude individually make before bouncing? Probably a shitload. Probably enough to never work again.
Yeah, but that's the other playbook too, that people, if you're new to crypto and you're just seeing this for the first time, you should expect to see founders move from like raising venture capital, making some money, to an exit. Usually a pre-product exit, like before Story has even really, the chain is live. But now the pipeline is, he could retire forever, maybe, probably not.
No, he's going to launch something else and raise
again. He's
again.
going to advise 3 different companies first, and he maybe will work for somebody in the interim. It's like a LinkedIn game. Somebody got trained at Goldman Sachs, and then they went somewhere else, and then they went somewhere else, and they went somewhere else, and pretty soon they're the CMO of like a Fortune 500 company, and they haven't worked anywhere for more than 6 months in their lives. And no shade, get that bag, man. Money's a scam. But, this is different. That's how it works, though.
Oh, God. Anyway, all I'm getting out of this is I should create a layer 1 and do a Series A. And
Let us fund you. Yes.
yeah.
Call it more. You put the suit on. And
then I'll use my social media platform to then use the community who trusts me to then get them to dive all of their money into this project that I create. And then I rug the crap out of them. But I go, guys, don't worry, I learned my lessons. And then I do it again, except this time it's for way more money. And then I do it again.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
And then I'll make my own influencer made meme coin.
Oh, wait,
and then
crap.
I'll do
Is
it
this live?
again.
Never mind. Don't worry about it. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Guys.
Allegedly.
Anyway, allegedly.
That's literally like you jest, but that's the playbook.
Yeah, no, I mean, like it happens.
So many people have done that. Every TikToker that launched a crypto did their own version of that.
Yeah, it'll be Dolphin Chain. Exactly, Jay Heat.
Yeah. In a world where you can be anything, bet
Be a
on
grifter.
yourself. Buy your own dip. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was like, be a dolphin?
One of the most inspiring tweets I ever saw was, would you buy your own dip? And I hope for all of you, my friends, the answer is yes. So as we round out another show, you have spent 90 minutes with us. Got to be questioning your life choices. But if for some reason you are eager to come back, let me remind you that we will be live again tomorrow, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. And every day through Thursday this week. If you just can't wait till then, check out Will and Doug tonight, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for Rise Up Market Watch. They're going to break down all the macro moments that make the markets move meaningfully.
Because we might have a Russia-Ukraine deal that has a lot of impact on inflation and oil and food prices. It also, the ending and beginning of wars have quick boosts and shrinkages to economies and assets. So we'll talk about that. Bitcoin dominance chart is fascinating right now because it's actually still showing weakness, which is good for altcoins, despite this red in the market. So that's fascinating. We'll have to dive into that. And tune in 8 o'clock tonight.
Can't wait. Alex, Will, have you guys got a final thought for our audience on the way out the door?
Market watch tonight. Come in. I'm not done talking with y'all. So I'll see you guys tonight. And then also, I am so excited to see what silliness you guys draw. I already saw someone in the TikTok chat being like, I'm already drawing a Chanel bag on the chart. I'm like, wonderful, beautiful.
Perfect.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited to see your guys' submissions in the Rise Up community. So, links on my profile page. Hop on in, submit your silly TA charts for a chance to win $100 in USDC.
Boop, boop, boop.
Boop, boop.
Very cool. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, monsters and machines, thank you for being the very best part of what we do. My final thought is deferred to the 8 ball. When asked, what should I do? What should I buy? It says, not the right time. Okay, we'll see about that 8 ball, and we will have much more for you next time. Until then, everybody, stay safe, be well, my friends. Rise up.
Bye-bye.